This is part 2 of my lesson plan assignment, and it covers sections 4, 5, and 6. For section 4, it's the activities, and what activities I've planned is the introduction and modeling, and that's to start off the lesson. We will have a discussion to recall what we learned the previous day. After the discussion, I will set up an example comparison chart on the whiteboard, and we'll fill out one example from the chart together. My guided practice is that the students will get with their partners and finish filling out the comparison chart on their own pieces of chart paper as a team. Then the groups will share their findings with the rest of the class in a report back session. For my independent practice, I'll have the students list the events and characters that Richard Peck created, and then they will write down what they think influenced each of Richard Peck's events and characters from the actual Great Depression era, and that will be on a worksheet that I give them. For closing, first, some of the students will share their answers from the independent practice. After that, we will have a wrap-up discussion, and I'll reiterate the lesson, and I will answer any final questions and clear up anything that the students may need to know about the lesson. My formative assessment, while the students are working on their independent practice, I will be using questioning and discussing to see which students have retained knowledge and which ones need more instruction. Also, while the groups are presenting their charts, I will be taking quick notes to see what I notice about each group, positive and negative. Why did I choose these activities? I have chosen to use a comparison chart because I feel like it'll be the best way for students to write down their ideas and findings and actually present evidence to the class. I've chosen to have the students list what they think influenced Richard Peck because it will be the best way for me to see which individuals understood material and which ones need more explanation. For my section 5, materials and resources, the instructional materials that I'll use are the book A Year Down Yonder by Richard Peck. I'll use a whiteboard and markers, and that's for my use, and it's for me to present the example comparison chart. I'm going to use chart paper and markers, and each group will get one piece of chart paper and a couple of markers, and they'll use that to create their comparison charts. I'm going to use whiteboard magnets for the students, and that's when they're presenting, they can hang up their comparison charts on the whiteboard so all the students will be able to see them. I'm going to use an events list worksheet, and that's to give to the students. And each student will get one, and it will be used for their independent practice. And of course pencils. Each student will use a pencil to work on their events list worksheet. Why have I chosen these materials? I've chosen to use A Year Down Yonder because it fits perfectly with the required Common Core standard and it is on the grade level book list. I'm using the whiteboard because all the students can easily see my example on it and the presentation charts from each group. I'm using chart paper for the presentation because it's big enough for 2 students to work on together comfortably without them getting in the way of each other. And I'm giving the students a worksheet to do their events list on and reasoning so they can have the format already in place and they don't have to just write it down on a piece of paper. For section 6, my evaluation, how and when do I plan on evaluating student learning on the content of this lesson? I will be doing formative evaluation throughout the entire lesson. I will take notes and ask questions to different students during the presentations and independent assessments. I plan on doing an independent evaluation after this lesson is finished by having the students write narratives of their own based on historical events in time. They will be using this lesson as a basis for their narratives. Why have I chosen this approach for my evaluation? I have chosen this type of evaluation because I will be able to see if my students completely comprehend exactly how a writer uses influence from actual events in history to come up with his own story. During the presentations, I will be able to see how comfortable the students are with teaching the information that they learned and how much knowledge they actually retained. I've chosen a written paper for evaluation because it'll give me a chance to evaluate each student's knowledge individually, and it will also give me the opportunity to evaluate their grammar and writing skills.